Hi, I'm KaitlinBrown, and I'm coming to you from my back porch in the mountains of North Carolina. I actually think that's kind of funny to say when you think about digital literacy. About 20, 30 years ago, that's not something that would have been a normal, thing to have mastered, being able to take your technology outside. But I think that's something to consider as talk about and we talk about technology and the mastery of it. When I think about my own learning experience, I think back to when I started school in the, early 90s when we still had computers that were in shades of green, and we were really excited to go to the computer lab and play games like Oregon Trail, which I know you're all familiar with. When I think about that, and that was our experience in the schools with digital literacy, that was because our teachers were digital immigrants. They were kind of afraid of technology, and they really didn't want us to use it in the classroom. We went to computer labs, and didn't have the technology in the classroom. Not everyone had a cell phone yet, or most of us didn't until much later, but I still consider myself a digital native. I was brought up in an era where we had computers at home, we had computers at school, everything was accessible. We had internet. It might have been dial-up, but we still had it. But when I think about that, and I think about my own teaching now, I think about the fact that I teach in a very student-centered environment. I want my students engaged with technology. It might be the smartboard at the front of the classroom, it might be iPads, it might be Chromebooks, it might be laptops, or even their cell phones. But I want them to use it in the classroom. We're not necessarily leaving the classroom to go to a computer lab to use them in the one spot. We're taking our computers and going to new places, like outside, which is very different from the way that we were taught in the 1990s and early 2000s. And it was because of that comfort level. Many of us that are digital natives or are brought up as digital natives are much more comfortable with technology and the use of it. We just have our own mastery of it, and we're just very confident. When you think about it, most of us know how to set up a computer, probably help our parents set them up. Most of us have cell phones. I mean, if I go into the house right now, I can think about all the technology we have, multiple TVs, multiple iPads, multiple different kinds of video games, things like that. We Skype with people around the world, we talk to family, we text, we do all these kind of things. And these are things that our kids are used to. So why wouldn't we want them to do this in the classroom? And this is very different from the way that we learn, because our teachers were digital immigrants, but it's almost come full circle. Now digital natives are the people that are in the classrooms, because many people that are digital immigrants are retiring. So the way that people learn is much more student-centered, and it's much more a world of 21st century learners. Our kids are overstimulated sometimes with technology. They have Pinterest, they have Instagram, they have Facebook. It wasn't the original like we all were brought up with, but they have all these and they know how to use them. So why wouldn't we want to utilize this in the classroom? And I think it's an important thing to realize that it needs to be utilized, that we need to take our kids out into the world with the technology and figure out how to, use these kind of places. Like, oh, how am I going to take my kids outside to the river but still be able to incorporate technology? Can I do a virtual lab? Can I do those kind of things? It's something that we might have still done when I was a student, but we might have done with pencil and paper. Can we now do it with a phone? Can we take pictures? Can we take video? And that's the fun part that I see as the biggest difference between me as a learner and me as a teacher.